All right. I've got some things to say because the energy is really weird and it just took me about 10 minutes to go live and I'm like, what is going on? Weird energy about. And also this piece around feeling like you take 10 steps, 2 steps forward and 10 steps backwards. I've spoken to several clients about this topic today. So I felt it was really important to share this message because obviously there's more than one person feeling it. And I'm wondering if you have ever felt like it's 1 step forward, 10 steps backwards, or 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. I'm really curious. So let me share this with you. I've changed my office around and I'm still getting adjustment to the way the camera is set up because it's it feels completely different. So don't mind me if I'm a little bit weird because I'm this is a little bit weird. But I felt like the change was good. I really love the setup. It's just the camera setup. So I'll just share this while I concentrate on this as always. So let me know, hey, let me know if you feel like that. If you're the one that often 1 step forward and 10 steps back. Yeah, it's really interesting. I guess it's also really important what I want to share about this, hence coming live. I felt like it was really important to share this. So let me just share this. I just gotta stop talking. I want to talk already. That's all. I'm quick, I want to talk about it. Okay. Perfect. Okay. All right, now I'm going to bring up these comments here so I can see what's going on and speak with you guys. And this is really still annoying me because it's not, I know my head's cut off or something. Okay, perfect. Yay, new setups, but adjusting to the new, which is fine. Okay. Hi, Alison and Diane and Sabrina, Oksana, Julie. Hello, everybody, and Janine. Okay, and everybody else who's here joining us live. So first of all, Trust the Intuition doors are open. The early bird closes 1st of December, so the price will go up and we do start training next year on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. So all the twos, we might start at we could start at 22 p.m. 2200 hours, but I'm not going to do a training at 10 o'clock at night. I could, but I'm not going to. For all the twos, I was thinking about that the other day and I was like, no, I think we might start at 11:11 on that day, perhaps. Australian time, anyway. So I wanted to mention that because what I'm talking about today is also very much of trusting your intuition. Yeah, it feels like that feeling of 2 steps forward and then 10 steps back. And I'm having deja vu as I start talking about this. This is so interesting. So the weird energy about is really and it's kind of we've had this wind of yeah, let's go and do this. And then it's kind of no motivation, just complete standstill. And I think I was sharing this the other day, right? That it's we're on a cosmic pause at the moment, a cosmic wait. And I was sharing that on the weekly intuitive energetic forecast, getting it correct. And it's this cosmic pause currently and this weird energy about, now who knows what it is? It could be this planet or this solar flare or this cosmic shift, or it could be this 5G tower switching on or them turning up the microwave dial. Do we really know? Not really, right? We could say it's any one thing. Yeah, we could put it down to something, of course. At the same time, the real important piece around feeling like you're taking 2 steps forward and 10 steps back, it's really important to know that I want to say it happens, right? And it's not about it, that's not the reality, and about oh, just pretend it's not happening. That's not where I'm coming from with this, right? As Alison says, I feel like I'm in a hole and complete as a whole, like I'm ready to fly, I'm ready to go, but then I'm not, right? And this is where I feel like this cosmic pause is kind of coming in, yeah? Who knows what that is about? But when it's like this 2 steps forward and then it's like, feel like 10 steps backward, because you move forward and then you're like, yeah, and then all of a sudden, like, all these things go wrong. It's like everything falls apart. Or then this big drama starts flaring up over here, or this massive thing's going, and then that happens as well. And oh my God, I'm like trying to do my purpose work, and I'm like, why is this happening to me again? Why is everything falling apart? And I just started to get going again, and I was just getting motivated, and things were really going good for me. And then like, oh, this shit's like falling apart. I'm like, what is happening over here? Like, why does this always happen? Like, it's like 2 steps forward and then 10 steps backwards. Like, why is this happening? Number one, as my client said, she's like, I what did she say? Catastrophize. Oh my God. What does this mean by words? Oh my God, this 4-hour sleep thing is not doing me good. I had more than 4 hours sleep last night, but I realized the other day that I've like had lots of late nights. Like I've been putting in some big hours, and I'm like, time for early bedtime. And then oh my God. Making everything like a catastrophe, like full big drama and stuff, right? You know that word I'm trying to say, right? She said it better than me. But then I had other clients mention this today as well, and I'm just like, wow, I feel like I really need to talk to this, because this is so important. Okay, this is so important. This is like the piece where you guys might have seen the like cartoon meme thing going around, and it's like, you know, 2 little miners like with their pick, and they're digging for the diamond, right? And they're digging for the diamond, and one of them's like given up and walked away, and the like diamond is like an inch of dirt away from like discovery, right? And then the other miner's still going. Catastrophic. Oh, she said I caught it catastrophizing or something. Oh my God, I can't even I don't know, maybe I don't know, whatever. So you guys know what I'm talking about. You wouldn't think that I got ducks off my school in high school for English and stuff, would you? Like, no, you wouldn't think that at all. Anyway, the point is that like the little miner that's like mining for the diamonds and gives up like 5 minutes before it happens, like 5 minutes before the end, like, you have to remember that when you're moving forward, when you're like, yeah, I'm going to change my life and I'm going to do all these things, right? And you're like, got all this motivation and enthusiasm, and you're like, yeah, I'm doing all these things. And you pick up momentum, and you're like, oh my God, everything's happening. And maybe you get really excited, and then you tell all these people who don't really understand what you're doing. And then like their sort of thoughts start seeping and sitting on your aura. And then what else happens in that situation? You know, and maybe you haven't even done that and things are just falling apart. You're like, Hannah, I haven't even told anyone anything, or these things that are happening are like completely unrelated to what I'm doing. Like, you know, it could be those, right? But regardless, what you have to remember is when you start to move forward in a direction of life that you've never done before, doesn't matter if it's your love life, your career, your finances, whatever it is, right? Whatever you start to move forward in, that I want to say will bring up stuff. Like things will start to, you know, like you're, if I can describe it right, you're on this spider web, right? You're on a spider web. And all of a sudden you're like, I want to say separating from the spider web, and you're like going in this other direction, like complete other direction. What's going to happen? Like all these things are going to stretch and snap, and it's kind of like the web might be sort of pulling along with you or something. And then that's why it feels like the 10 steps backwards, right? Because you're stepping away from a complete paradigm that is like brand new, like, you know, in total new energy usually, to like what you've ever done before. Like I want to say it's normal for drama, catastrophes, all the things to come up, right? Now, the thing that I said to my clients, and what's really, really important to understand, is that when these things happen, like whatever it is that happens, I'm not saying don't feel your feelings, right? I'm saying like be very aware of your feelings, consciously like cry, all the things that I talk about, okay? But it gets to a point in our spiritual evolution journey where we like look at these things and we're like, wow, check out what's happening over here, and wow, this is happening too. And the biggest thing that will not drag us back into the web, the biggest thing that will not like get us sucked into the drama, or the biggest thing will just go like, why is this happening to me? Because like all these good things are happening in my life and then this goes and happens again. Like the biggest thing that shifts that is your mindset and the way that you perceive what is happening outside of you, the way that you react or respond to what is happening outside of you, right? So the world could be falling apart, right? All these things could be happening, right? But the way that you respond to that is what's going to shift it, is what's going to be like your elastic band that's going to pull you back into the web, and you're going to lock it off and you're not going to do that thing again. Or you're just going to like be able to like fully keep separating yourself in a way and keep moving forward without it dragging you back in. Now that does take practice, that does take skill, that does take a choice to be able to go, you know what? Everything's falling apart right now and I'm really sad about this thing for sure. I'm going to cry about this thing for sure, right? I'm going to have these feelings about this thing for sure. At the same time, I know this is happening because I'm moving forward, because I made the choice to be able to move forward, because I made the choice to do this thing, right? It's the little minor with the pick, yeah? And it's like you're about to hit the goal. Remember, things get worse before they get better. When you're trying to change your life, the hardest point, the point you want to break through, the point where you want to give up, the point where you're like, maybe I'm not meant to do this anymore, and maybe like you're taking all of these things as signs that you're not meant to do it anymore, which is like, I wouldn't listen to that at all, is like the biggest thing is that you are able to continue to move forward regardless, yeah? That's why having support and help you get through it, right? It's not that you're taking a wrong turn. It's not that you're not meant to do it. It's not that you're not on the right path when everything starts going wrong. No, you're just like shifting into a whole new vibrational reality, and all these things are like, yeah, are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to move? Are you sure you want to move forward? Right? Sure, you'll question it for sure. Sure, your doubt will come up. You're like, maybe I'm not supposed to do it, but deep down you're like, but I know I'm meant to do it, right? It's a thing. It happens. So the other thing as well, like when we look at these, I want to say giving up points, right? These giving up points, you have to remember, and I said this to a client as well, these transitionary breaking up points, in a sense of like when we want to give up, it's not working, we want to walk away from it all, that can last about 3 to 5 months. Yeah. So if you're in a transitionary phase and you've been through something, or you're going through something, or you've changed something massive in your life, that like, oh, it's not working, I can't be bothered, or maybe I shouldn't do it, or blah, 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 blah. They last about 3 to 5 months. So if you can like have that in your mind, in your energy, get support where you need support, like have those people you can call on to like keep you motivated, keep you in the space, keep you, because you know deep down that if you were to walk away, you would regret that for the rest of your life, right? You know that this is a path that you need to walk. And so in these times, when these transitionary times, it's good to know the sort of time frames that it's expected to be able to feel this way, right? Because otherwise we do give up. And this is why a lot of people do give up and they don't go down that path, because it's not a fucking easy path. And so many people are like, I'm not meant to do it, it's too hard. Like, no, you are. And a lot of people just don't do it because it is hard, right? Like, it's definitely not easy walking this path, yeah? So Allison says, yes, I feel like others around me have so much drama and I'm just sitting there. Yeah, exactly, right? It's just like, wow. And sometimes we look at it and we're like, wow. But we also see our growth in those moments, and we see how we used to react to that, yeah? As my mentor once said, it's like the ping pong back and forth, yeah? It's the ping pong of this back and forth. So the thing that I want to share about something must have shifted as well is like a personal share. And I'm just finding that the last sort of week and a half, I've just like had all this support drop into my space. I've had amazing clients come into my space. I've had amazing people just reaching out for support, like reaching to support me, having like kind people around. Like, I'm like, okay, something must have shifted. But I also know, if you've been following me for a little while, I've walked away from a lot of things that were out of alignment and said no to a lot of things and had big grief sessions about those things and really working to let go of those things. And in that, all this new support has come in. All this new, like, it's like automatic alignment. It's just like, oh, like these people really are just so in alignment. It's like, oh, here we go. A little example. So, and this is the talking about the reactions, right? And the way we would have reacted, and the magic that's in the air. So this is kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting and a little bit strange in a way. I don't know if strange is the right word. It's not strange. I would call this magic. Some people might be freaked by this. I know you guys probably won't. But so on Sunday, I was in my kitchen and I was preparing lunch. No, it was breakfast. It was more like brunch. And I was just doing my thing. And then like just next to me, like, you know, I'm on the bench, coffee, whatever it is. And then it was like, you know, like the dandelion seeds that fly, but the dandelion seed, it was, you know, the fluff ball things that float along. It was a dandelion, but it wasn't dandelion because it's a lot bigger. So I don't know what they are out here, but it was like golf ball size. Yeah. And I was just doing my thing and it just like looked up and it was just here. Like all of a sudden it was just here. I was like, oh, and I like put my hand out and it was so like Avatar style. Like it just landed on my hand and I was like, oh, and I could feel its presence. Like I was like, there's something around. Like, you know, that it was just, and it just sort of rolled off my hand and then it just like took off again. And I was like, okay. And I could like feel the magic. That's why I wrote on Facebook the other day, like, look for the signs of miracles. Like, can you feel the signs of miracles or whatever? And anyway, so I was like doing my thing. And then I was like finishing watching, what was I watching? Oh, Another Life or something. It's a little bit intense, but I was watching it and having my brunch and my cat came in, Milo, and it was around like sort of 10:30, 11 in the morning. And Milo came in because they usually leave the door open, the cats come in and out all day. And all the other cats had like gone back to sleep for the day sort of thing, right? And, you know, and I know that he wasn't like around or anything. Like, I don't know, just he goes wandering or whatever. Anyway, I'm having breakfast, doing my own thing, and he walks in and he's like, meow, 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 meow. You know, like, and I, you know, usually when they come in and speak, I'm like, hey, mate, like, you know, fully talking to him. But because I was sort of distracted, I was just like, hey, mate, I didn't really click, you know what I mean? Like, I was just in my zone and whatever. And then he sort of like rolled under my feet and then he went back outside and just outside the door where Jasmine's bed is, my dog. And I could hear him like meowing and all the other cats were asleep. And I'm like it took a while, but I caught it and I was like, oh, he's meowing. I'm like, what the fuck? And I went outside because it was like constant sort of meow, like trying to tell me something, you know, and he's like rolling around on the ground and being all smoochy, but meowing. And I was like, what's going on, May? Like, you trying to tell me something? And next thing, just behind me, because the laundry's down, I could hear the washing machine. And I was like, oh, he's telling me that. I was like, the washing machine's broken. Like, I knew without even looking at it, I could just hear it. I was like, the washing machine's broken. I was like, is that what you're telling me, mate? And then he just got up and walked away. And I'm like, yeah, you were like telling me about the washing machine. Now, what's interesting, and I haven't shared this part, I had a dream 17th of November. I'm funny, I remember that date. Let me just have a look. Yep, 17th of November. For some reason, that's significant date. Well, it's the 16th of November. I mean, October, sorry. And in the dream, I won't go into detail with it because there's a reason I haven't shared it, because it's just, I've shared it with like 2 people. Anyway, in the dream, it was like Inception. It was not a dream. Anyway, there was many layers to it, and I woke up out of that dream with Milo, the one who told me about the washing machine. Like, he woke me up, and the way he woke me up was like Inception. I was like, woke up and I'm like, that wasn't a dream. Like, I knew straight away. I was like, it was just next level insane. Anyway, like I said, I've shared that with 2 people. There's a reason for that. So anyway, you're just gonna have to be in my inner circle or something if you want to find out, because that's who knows about it. Anyway, I just won't share it with anyone who doesn't get it. I know you guys do, but yeah. Anyway, the point is, ever since that dream, I've called him my alien cat, because until that dream, I had noticed him in the past, my cat Milo, like when he blinks sometimes, like his eyes literally go like an alien. Like, you know how we see on the movies and stuff? I know I'm laughing about it, but I'm kind of like, is this for real? Anyway, until that dream, I was always like, see his eyes sometimes, and I'm like, man, you're like, it's just like got the alien eyes when he blinks sometimes. I'm like, Anyway, out of the dream, I was like, you're definitely a fucking alien cat. And then the washing machine, I was like, man, you're like something else. You're not a cat. Like, he was like fully communicating that with me about the washing machine. Anyway, the point that I'm sharing that is because we're talking about the way we wouldn't, react anymore, the way that we look at things. Now, sure enough, and I did say to Daya, I'm like, if Milo didn't tell me about the washing machine and I walked out there, I think I would have lost my shit. But if Milo, like, because Milo did, like, I did not have one single reaction to it. But I think on top of that, like, you know what, less than half an hour earlier, I'm getting my breakfast and the freaking thing lands on my hand. I'm like, there is freaking magic about. So it's interesting, Rachel, you say that the fairies are very strong, because I feel that as well at the moment, right? And that whole, like, you know, like that thing landing on my hand, it was literally like Avatar style, like, you know, in the movie, and they land on the hand or whatever. Like, that's what it felt like. And then next thing, Milo walks in and tells me about the washing machine, and like, and the thing is because when he was like, you know, meowing, and I said, are you trying to tell me something? And then I heard the washing machine, and I was just like, oh, you are. And then straight away I had the vision of that, and I was like, okay, there's miracles here. Like, you know, it was just like, just so real or something. I don't know how to describe it. So what was the point? Oh yeah, so, and what's interesting, like I said, is like, because of the vision and because of that, it was just so like, I was like, oh, the washing machine's gone. The other point about that is what's really significant. I was just telling a client this the other day. I was like, when you shift vibration, everything falls apart around you. People, relationships, the dramas, all the things that we've just spoken about, right? But what also happens is technology breaks, you know, like appliances, like all these things need upgrades all of a sudden, right? Like everything needs an upgrade all of a freaking sudden. And so, you know, and I knew that, but also what's really significant is that these appliances, I want to say, are like the last section or whatever, about like all of the domestic violence, abuse and everything that I've gone through, and everything that I've been healing and working on, you know, over the years, and specifically in this house around, you know, like the, running away from everything, you know, and the adrenaline and, you know, and all of that stuff, like the significance of like the Avatar dandelion, I'll call it, and Milo, and just the vision. And then, you know, I was just like, I just started crying, to be honest. I sat there and crying, not in a like, the washing machine's broken, just in like feeling that level of connection and magic. I was just like, something is here, you know, like something is just, you know. And when I've been processing it the last few days, like, so, and this is where I was talking about something must have shifted, because yesterday I obviously had washing to do, right? Like I was like, okay, so, and I just took it to the laundromat just for this moment, in town. And it's interesting because I was like, well, and I was looking at washing machines this morning because I woke up this morning. I'm like, Hannah, you have to do something about this. Anyway, so when I was at the laundromat yesterday, the people that I spoke to there, it was kind of interesting. Like, I don't know, like, does that always happen in laundromats? I don't think so, because when I was traveling down south in Victoria, I went to a lot of laundromats when I was living off grid, and I didn't have these sort of conversations at laundromats. And then yesterday at the laundromat, I had a conversation, well, several conversations, but one of them, this man was just telling me his life story, this is how we do it sort of thing. Not his life story, but just, it was interesting. Anyway, he was talking about a book that he's reading. I haven't heard of it, but I think it says it all. So it's called False Alarm. It's False Alarm, How Climate Change Panic Costs Us Trillions, Hurts the Poor, and Fails to Fix the Planet. So it's basically about all the conspiracy shit, if you may. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, and because we started talking about laundromats down in Victoria, because he had family down there, and we were just saying how bad it is down there. And then he started talking about this book that he had, and you know, like, he manages some pretty big stores, and you know, and that's the thing. I'm kind of like, so I'm in a laundromat. I don't usually come to laundromats, and I'm like meeting people who are like owning companies that also sell a laundromat, reading about climate change falsifying stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is okay, I'm really meant to be here this morning. So it's just like all these synchronicities that are like really dropping in at the moment. So alongside this like weird, strange energy that keeps sort of waving and, you know, coming across us at times, I want to say there's a lot of magic in the air. There's a lot of synchronicities in the air. There's a lot of divine meetings in the air, right? And I feel like for me personally, like, I have obviously shifted something deep, because all of a sudden I'm attracting people who get it, who are supportive. You know, not just a laundromat. Like, over the past 10 days, like, there's been a lot of people that come into my field, and I'm like, oh wow, like wow, like, all of a sudden there's just people and they're really aligned, right? Whether they're clients or just people that I'm meeting or people that I'm connecting with online, like, it's a total different frequency. And I'm like, this is really interesting. Then the washing machine goes, and I was like, well, that's really significant, because you know, like, it's a very old washing machine. Like, honestly, it's like a 1950s like top loader, like old washing machine, and I was gifted it when my other washing machine broke several years ago. Someone bought it for me, a guy bought it for me. He's like, you just need something. And so we got it, and it was that old. It actually, I found a penny in it. Like, when I watched at one point, I was like, oh, this is really old, literally from the 1950s or something. Anyway, I'm like considering getting it, like, I considered getting it fixed, because like, these days appliances are not designed to last. This is part of the consumerism you know, thing, because they've learned if they make things to last, we don't buy them as much, and so they don't have business. You know, which totally blows my mind at times, you know what I mean? Like, new ones are all shit. Yes, it's interesting because I had a new one when Adea was born. It lasted like 5 years, and I like got this one. Well, it's lasted what? So I got it in 2017. So it's only a couple of years, but I'm like, how old is it? And it's still going. And, you know, and I was like considering getting it fixed just because of that. And I'm like, no, I'm ready for a new one, right? And then now I've decided that, I'm like, all this stuff is like dropping in around, you know, if I look at the fridge and the washing machine, they're the last pieces to go from all that abuse cycle. And I'm like, wow, this is really significant. So something must have shifted. And I guess I'm just sharing that for a celebration. And, you know, with what we're talking about at the start of this live stream, that is fucking hard. It is hard to break patterns. It takes time to break patterns. Don't judge yourself if you go back to a relationship 10 times to try and figure it out. Don't judge yourself if you feel like you're not there yet. Don't judge it. Like, it takes time. I don't care what friggin' like anybody says. I don't care what anybody says about healing or this instant healing or this instant manifestation shit. I don't care what anyone says about take this ayahuasca or take this thing. Like, no, like healing and change in behavioral patterns in a human being takes fucking time. Like, tell me someone who is magically cured overnight from like a fucking ceremony. Like, I'm sorry, but shifts happen. But to change your life from one old life to a new takes time. We are 3D beings in a 3D world. We can bring in higher energies for sure, but it takes fucking time. And I think that a lot of the time when we get stuck on like, I should be further ahead, I'm going 10 steps backwards. Like, no, you're just breaking the strings of the web, and it takes time and it's hard and it makes you face a lot of stuff. Like, it's not easy, right? So I'm sharing these celebrations because I'm like, all of a sudden there's this magic that has landed in my hand. And it, like I said, if that magic didn't land in my hand and if Milo didn't show me the washing machine, I probably would have lost my shit a bit. But definitely not like the old Hannah. But at the same time, I did not have 1 ounce of reaction. I was just like, wow, like this is so interesting. Then when I woke up this morning and I could, I could get all this information just as I'm coming back, and waking up, and I was like, look online for appliances. And then I could see there's like washing machine and dryer, like together stuff. And I'm like, sweet. And I got excited. I'm like, oh my God, new appliances. I'm like, why haven't I done this before? So interesting, right? Oh, Deanne says, yes, there's something around right now for sure. Yeah, there's lots of magic around, like, we can feel it. And at the same time, there's also lots of stuff coming up. If we really look at the fairy realm, it does make us look at our stuff. Yeah, it is very airy fairy, if you may, but very grounded. But it does make us look so, like, it's deep. The fairy realm is like one of the deepest realms that you could be in. And it does make us look at our stuff because of that. So there's a lot of this going on at the moment. There's a lot of questioning. There's a lot of, have I done the right thing? There's a lot of like, why isn't anything moving forward? Okay, it does, and then it stops, or I don't feel motivated, or something happens, or, it's like, it's very wavy. It's very wavy. It'll say it's very up and down. It's like, it's very wavy. And we get to learn to ride the waves, right? And we get to learn how to, when we get knocked off, we learn how to get on that board and paddle the board and learn how to ride the wave. Even when it's going down, we're on the board, not just getting taken down, right? And it is a practice and a skill. And at this time, there is a cosmic pause, and it feels like a bit of a, which way is it going to go, right? But I feel like by the 13th of November, so another 10 days, I feel like we're going to hit some sort of forward motion, and it'll just be like, woof, all of a sudden or something. That's the energy coming through. So maybe you can like have that in your notes. It's going to go woof or something. I don't know. Yes, it does. It takes time, right? It takes time. So Alison says it's been 2 years in January 2022 that I pasted my Trust Your Intuition program with you. Pasted? I think you meant finished or something. So many shifts within this 2 years still going on. Or do you mean started? Was it January 2022? Yes, every day is a school day. Yes, I like to say Earth is our school. Yeah, learned so much and still going. Yes, Trust Intuition is open, and I'm only gonna. I'm on the edge. Am I going to run it live every year, or am I only going to run it live next year? And then it will only be available for purchasing to watch the recordings after that. I don't know yet. So if you want to, I know when I start filming and we start the program next year, I will know then. So if you want to get in on the live trainings, this is the time to get in. So I'm only going to run it once a year though, because it is trusting your intuition to become a certified intuitive healer, so that you can learn to trust intuition, but be able to take your gifts and actually practice them in the world. 2 years that you started. You started in January 2022. It will be 2 years by then. Yeah, that's amazing. So it'll be 2 years in 2022, and we're starting Trust Intuition round next year. I just saw 33. We'll be starting it on the 22nd of the 2nd, 2022. It's so interesting when I got that message to start on the 22nd of February. I didn't even like click until like last live stream, and I was like, oh, February is the 2nd as well. Like 22222. kind of interesting that we're starting on that date. So Lena says, all day I thought it was Thursday. I asked my angels to help me get my cleaning done before the inspection on Friday. In the afternoon I discovered it's only Wednesday, so you gained an extra day to clean. I love it. It's what do I want to say? It's the time has been weird and time's going fast. I'm like, wow, it's November. Where did October go? And it's, yeah, definitely going fast and strange. Like everything is strange, it feels like, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. So, if you're watching the replay, let me know if you've got any questions. Let me know if the energy is weird for you as well. But all in all, like, know that the shifts come and the shifts happen, and all of a sudden it's done. And all of a sudden the string snaps, the web snaps. All of a sudden you're living your new life. All of a sudden it's like, oh, it's done. And you didn't realize, right? Because you're just doing your thing, right? And you're not walking 10 steps back. You're moving forward and everything's like, where are you going, right? And it's like, feels like that, but keep going because the diamond is just there. It's not, the hardest part is always just at the end. The hardest part is always at the end. The transitionary phase of changing your life, right? Especially those big turning points, takes like 3 to 5 months when we're birthing something new. Like, give yourself a break, give yourself time, be gentle with yourself. Comment below if you've got any questions. I love you guys. Keeping it real. As always, I shall see you soon.